rapid spread of the virus is triggering urgent action.
Dozens of schools have canceled classes for varying.
The Maryland Department of Education directed all school activities to be canceled.
When we learned that schools were going to be shut down and the state school system was trying to figure out what virtual learning would look like, there was a month of lagging time in which teachers and administrators and central office personnel, we were all going back and forth. In my situation, with my students that I worked with in my school, the standard went from being high to like barely anything. And in that time frame, my kids were learning.
One of Atholton's greatest assets is the staff. They're committed, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done and to do it well. We actually had a conversation about a month prior to our school going to distance learning. And as we heard the news, we realized we better be ready. We didn't want any gaps in what our families would face.
I was actually pretty impressed with how fast the school was able to adjust to virtual learning. The fact that there was something in place within a week, Atholton still kept a standard in place, but with assistance.
I've chosen Adventist education for my kids for the same reasons I chose to work in Adventist education. I strongly believe that God speaks to us not just through the Bible and Bible class, that God speaks and guides us through His creation, mathematics, science, in history. And Adventist education gives my kids the opportunity for their teachers to speak about God in all of those places.
I'm an educator, and I want to make sure that they're getting a good, well-rounded educational experience, but they also needed the spiritual aspect. Yes, it's a sacrifice. Yes, there's a price tag for it, but that's also because you're trying to make sure that you're trying to find good Christian educators. And the fact that Atholton does both things very well is why we, even during COVID, felt like we did not want to uproot them.
When we first looked at this, it seemed like it was going to be a short-term event, but as time has progressed, we realize it's a lot more complicated than we could have ever imagined. Hearing from the experts and looking at what a school our size would be able to do was very important in us determining the ability for us to move forward. We recognize that each family is in at different places and they have different factors that they have to consider. So we've had several surveys go out to parents, finding out what worked last year and what they need for this coming year. Not one size fits every situation. And because we're small enough and the teachers are willing enough to flex in different ways, we felt that we could offer some different options. We understand that this is extremely difficult for families to decide what's best for them. And we felt that with the technology and the training that we can provide our teachers, we'll be able to effectively offer distance learning. We can also effectively offer on-site learning because we're able to put in different protocols with our cleaning and the way we organize the day and having smaller class size. We'll be able to offer that for those who need in-person instruction. We have committed to outdoor learning spaces. So we have tents from the conference that we have set up all around our campus. We, as a staff, cleaned up the school garden, and we also want these spaces to be available not just for during the school day, but we want these to also be opportunities for students that may have chosen the distance learning plan to be able to come to school and meet in these outside learning environments and to have some science labs or some other types of exploration.
So we are the largest Protestant school system in the world. That doesn't come without major support.
There are lots of other places where you can get a quality education. I understand that. But I believe that coming to Atholton gives you an advantage.
We have valued education as an instrument of training for our young people in reaching out and doing the Great Commission.
At the end of the day, I want to see my kids in the kingdom, not just me. And if that means I have to make that sacrifice, I'm going to do it.
So many people are making Atholton Adventist Academy a priority this year. This year, we've already raised $25,000 for student aid. This is above and beyond what we've ever done before.
By them being in a school like this, it really planted a seed that, really is growing more and more and more every day. And I definitely attribute that to Christian education.
If it's truly valuable, if we find it beneficial, then this is when we need to support it the most, so that we have the opportunity to choose it later, or that our children have the opportunity to choose it later.